squishymonster.com, and today we're making budae jjigae, which is army-based soup. And this is perfect for if you have leftovers, you're trying to clean out the pantry or the refrigerator. It's delicious, comforting, and very familiar. To begin, I want to create my broth. So in my pot, I have some cold filtered water that I'm going to simmer together with these ingredients. And I have them in a basket. If you don't have it, you can just strain it out later, no worries. And I have a piece of onion, some garlic, some anchovies, and some pieces of kelp. And as always, you can find all these ingredients in the description box, as well as my blog, thesquishymonster.com. My stock is just bubbling away behind me, and now I can concentrate on my paste. So I'm going to grind this in a food processor, but you can easily mince the garlic by hand and just mix it all together. But to this, I'm going to add in some fish sauce for a salty bite, some cloves of garlic, some red pepper flakes, as well as some pepper paste. It's thick and sticky, so make sure you can scrape out as much as you can. And then I want to whirl it all together. Since there are a plethora of ingredients, it seems, which makes a lot of sense because this is the poor man's hodgepodge meal, I wanted to go over them. So in the beginning, I'm going to layer in some tofu, some rice cakes, some cubed spam, some sausage. You can use hot dogs, or I'm using kielbasa in this case, some onions, some mushrooms, enoki or oyster, really whatever you like or is on sale. Cremini was what was on sale at my market. And then I have some hot pepper, some jalapenos, and then a Korean pepper, but you can omit those if you don't like the heat. And then at the last moment, I'm gonna add in some ramen noodles and some American cheese, which sounds a little funny, but it is traditional. And it really kind of melts into it and makes it really a much richer broth, even though it is pretty rich with the spam and the sausage. And then I'm going to sprinkle over a little bit of green onions just to garnish and provide a little bit of freshness. So I have my paste right here, and I'm going to divide it. Half of it is going directly into the stock and half of it is going into my meat to flavor it. And I just think it's a great use to divide it and to inject more flavor, so I'm going to mix it together, and my stock should be ready for me. My little basket has done its job, so I can retrieve him. And I let my stock go for about 20 minutes or so, and it should be infused with that richness of all those ingredients in there. So I want to begin by spooning in my paste and letting it kind of begin to dissolve in that hot stock. And it's very aromatic between the spices and the richness of the stock, all the things that went into creating that stock. So I want to just begin dissolving it. You're going to bubble this away, so it's going to have like a roaring bubble, so don't worry about it if it's still clumpy at this stage. And then I want to move on by layering in my other ingredients. So I have my tofu, and be very careful because it is very hot stock. And then my rice cakes, they're so versatile. You can have them sweet. I like to dip them in just granulated sugar or honey and sesame oil. You can also have tteokbokki with them. You can put them in this. And I want to tumble in my cubed spam, which I had a lot of growing up because we grew up kind of poor too. So we ate a lot of it, and it's a treat now when I have it. So tumble that in, and right next to it, I want to layer in my kielbasa. And as this bubbles away, all of that richness is going to impart itself into the soup. It's delicious. And then the onions will cook very tenderly. I like it when the onions still have a bit of a bite to them and they're not all mushy, because sometimes when they're overcooked, they can become part of the soup almost, and I really don't like that. Then in the center, I want to put in my peppers. I have my mushrooms. And in the very, very center, I want to spoon in my beef. And you want to make sure it's not too compacted because you want it to cook through, and you're going to eventually stir it. But I'm going to increase the heat so it'll begin to simmer and cook off. After about 15 minutes, my soup has been bubbling away, and you want to go in there and break apart that beef. Like I said, you don't want it to clump together because you do want to cook it thoroughly and it become part of the soup. So now we're ready to nestle in our noodles. Just on top there, just poke it in, and that should cook off fairly quickly as well. Now I just want to salt and pepper to taste, some freshly cracked black pepper, and then I want to lay in my American cheese slice, just trust me on this, and then sprinkle with a little bit of green peppers, and then we're ready to serve and eat. So here is my budae jjigae, and I like to serve mine with some fresh kimchi because I think that cold crunch is really nice contrast with the silky, warm, hot soup. So I'm gonna grab a bite to see how it tastes. Oh, and those noodles are enrobed in that melting cheese. That is solid. And another great thing about this is that I just got a couple bites of a few things, but as you go through this soup, you discover new flavors and textures and ingredients. And if you're intimidated by Korean food, this may be the very point to start because it's got a lot of familiar flavors, but in a new package of sorts, if you want to look at it this way. So I hope you guys give it a try. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. This was Angie from thesquishymonster.com, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye. I hope you guys didn't think we were done. I'm just kidding, but I did want to introduce you guys to a new series called Ask Angie. And if you've ever had any questions about Korean food, baking, or cooking, let me know and I'll feature them in my next video. So you can get at me through several avenues. You can leave me a comment below. You can find me on Facebook, The Squishy Monster. You can find me on Twitter at @squishymonster, my blog, thesquishymonster.com, or even email me at squishy@thesquishymonster.com. So send me all those questions and I'll feature them and try to answer them the best I can. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!